have just removed the words because I'm sure you don't need the words. You do need the After Cloudstreet, we have supper, and supper is free. And it will be out there after Cloudstreet. And remember my warning at the beginning, you have to eat everything, okay? We don't want to take anything back. Also, while they're setting up, there's a little tin by the door. It's just $2 to help us pay for the hire of the room. So if you haven't put your $2 in the tin yet, please do so. At the end of the bar, there's tea and coffee, just $1 in the tin there, and that all goes to the sports club. So thank you very much. And if you do that on your way out, because I give that then Sam and he counts it while we're having supper. There is a system, sort of.
You can tune all you like, I'm still going to do this.
Distracting.
You could have done that before you came, John.
Have you shrunk or did it grow?
I ran into Don Nichols on the weekend. So I told him about this amazing concertina I've got on order, and I said I'd paid the extra for gold-plated buttons. And he went, "Oh, you're really going to feel the difference." Yep, right.
It is my extreme pleasure. I should say, yeah, my favourite group, really, Cloudstreet, have been ever since I was my favourite duo, even though my duo, something else should have been my favourite duo. But so please, for a lovely 40 minutes with Cloudstreet.
We're paying them extra.
To the weavers can you go?
weavers can you go? To the weavers can you go? Fair maidens, to the weavers can you go? I read direct young down Nick. To the weavers can you go? To the weavers can you go? Fair maidens, to the weavers can you go? I read direct young down Nick. To the weavers can you go? I read direct young down Nick. To the weavers can you go?
Thank you.
That's a very new one for us. It's in foreign.
It's in foreign. I think Donald understood nearly all of it, but he's right at the back, so he might have missed something. It was, if you didn't pick it all up, it was about a young woman who was sent to the town by her mother and immediately fell in love with a weaver, which is possibly the worst thing that could have happened to her.
People saw them out of the bar together and they said, get a loom.
So we carried
That was a
on.
friendlier reaction to that joke than he got ever in England.
But yet he tried it again and again. I think he thought because they had the Industrial Revolution that somebody was going to like it somewhere in the country.
He was wrong.
Well, no, we just didn't play that town.
But even at English folk clubs, there weren't audience members old enough to remember the Industrial Revolution.
They just look like it.
Yes,
A couple of years ago, we were travelling around England, John and I were travelling around England together, and we got to a town called Malmesbury. And I love travelling around England and going, oh, there's an Australian town. I don't think they think about it that way. So we were in Malmesbury, which is also in Victoria, as you may know, but we did go to Ipswich once in England, and we got there. Well, we said to them, when we got to Ipswich in England, we said, you know, when you go to Ipswich in Australia, if you keep going, like just out the same road, you end up in Warwick. And they thought that was incredible. And I thought it was normal.
they are a simple but happy people.
There were 3 Kenmores. I thought one would have been enough.
So this is a song that Nicole wrote about a man in the 13th century who decided that if he studied birds long enough, he would figure out how to do what they did. And after the unfortunate egg-laying attempt, he built himself a pair of wings and jumped off a tower in the town of Malmesbury and flew, was it 200 yards before he crashed to the earth, breaking both his legs. Which, but still 200 yards wasn't bad for someone with unpowered flight.
The tower was 200 yards high, right?
Sort of right but wrong. So he did actually fly for a bit.
Australians are much better hecklers.
Oh, they are. Australians are excellent hecklers and add up the numbers much quicker. So he did jump off the highest tower in the land at the time, and he did fly. And it was at that point, while he was flying, or hurtling, possibly, that he realised a piece of research that he hadn't yet done as a scholar of birds, and that was he suddenly figured out what the tail was for. And birds use their tail for steering, and Elmer didn't have a tail, and that's why he ran straight into the hill. Because he could see the hill, he just couldn't do anything about it.
And like many monks since, for the rest of his career, he chased tail. Too soon? It was the 13th century.
Oh yeah. So this is Elmer, the flying monk, called Malmesbury Abbey.
They've forgotten what it's about.
Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4.
From Malmesbury Abbey down the river to Daniel's Well, wings all vigorous from the top of the highest And the flute from Palm Tree Abbey down the river to Daniel's Well. Wings of Icarus from the top of the highest tower of Emmanuel.
Wings of willow, wax and parchment, strapped with leather to every limb. Months of study now prove their value, tucking billowing garments in, poised upon the rim, stepping skywards with the ravens and jackdaws swooping around the top, bound aloft on airy pillars, elder rose and a sigh of breeze. This is Miner's fall.
And the flute from Palm Tree Abbey down the river to Daniel's Well. Wings of Icarus from the top of the highest tower of Emmanuel.
Now descending in the turbulence round the tower, he lost his nerve. Still his bravery lifts him onward, spreads his wings and sees him fly down the river's curve. When the sudden hill rose to meet him, Elmer's injuries left him lame. Broken hearted, the abbot ordered him to cast aside the birds of the air.
And the flute from Palm Tree Abbey down the river to Daniel's Well. Wings of Icarus from the top of the highest tower of Emmanuel.
When the wood returned to bless him, Elmer remembered its fiery trail. Now I see you, I know your lesson. Wings alone a bird do not make, wanted for a tail, to steer me on and guide me where I
And the flute from Palm Tree Abbey down the river to Daniel's Well. Wings of Icarus from the top of the highest tower of Emmanuel. Thank you. A couple of weeks ago, I went out to Warwick for the 100th anniversary of the egg throwing at the Prime Minister incident. And I
Are we
managed
looking at a
to...
revival?
They actually
Actually,
did
there's
reenact
a bit
it.
on television about that today because they're having a display in the National Museum for the foundation of the Federal Police Force.
There were actually dozens of federal police in Warwick for the event because as a result of eggs being thrown at the Prime Minister and the local police sergeant, Sergeant Henry Kenny, an Irish Catholic, not arresting the man responsible for throwing the eggs, Billy Hughes went back to Sydney and founded the Australian Federal Police so that there would be federal officers subject to his direction. And it was all part of the conscription debate in 1917 in Australia. Billy would go through different towns and stop wherever he went and make speeches in favour of conscription. Warwick was a hugely Irish Catholic town. I didn't realise how significant that was at the time until at this event I learned that St Patrick's Day used to be a public holiday in Warwick. And so the local police sergeant being an Irish Catholic and the Irish Catholics being the foundation of the anti-conscription movement because they looked around and went, hang on, we're all young men, it'll be us. And so Hughes, when he rose to speak, had his hat knocked off by an egg. This displeased him to the point where he had to be restrained by his security detail from getting off the platform and joining in the fight. They eventually got him to speak again, and the same thing happened again. So he left town in something of a temper. I wrote this song and I sang it on the platform as part of the reenactment, which is just an enormous thrill. So this is a song I wrote as part of a fellowship at the State Library about conscription in the First World War in Queensland. This is Who Threw the Egg at Poor Old Billy.
It does have a chorus.
And you'll recognise it.
And I know you're A-grade chorus singers.
Yes.
Just saying.
Did an L&P person throw an egg at you?
No, weirdly, no.
They didn't fit on the plate.
Although there was a fantastic episode in the UK at an election not that long ago where someone threw an egg at a Labor guy and he was too close, the guy who threw the egg, and it hit him and the politician just went bang and got him on the chin. And the police all went, that's... I think that's provocation, let's keep on. 3 concertinas.
Oh my gosh.
All we need is a banjo.
In November 1917, Australia was at war. The soldiers in their thousands had sailed to foreign shores. Billy Hughes was for conscription, he hoped to win the fight. When into Warwicktown he came to shout with all his might, but not every heart was with him upon that fateful day. As the PM moved among them to stand and have his say, they waited in their hundreds as they stood there in the sun. An Irishman among the crowd was keen to try his arm. Oh, who threw the egg at poor old Billy as he stood there on the back end of the train? Who threw the egg at poor old Billy? Oh, what a scandal, what a shame. He sends the young men off to war to face the death and gore. But such a horror as this day you never saw before, the day that someone threw an egg at poor old Billy as he stood there on the back end of the train. For as Billy rose to speak his piece, an egg flew through the air. It knocked the PM's hat off where it fell upon the stair. The effect was not relaxing, the PM's rage was fierce. He tried to jump into the crowd to box the Eggman's ears. Oh, who threw the egg at poor old Billy as he stood there on the back end of the train? Who threw the egg at poor old Billy? Oh, what a scandal, what a shame. He sends the young men off to war to face the death and gore. But such a horror as this day you never saw before, the day that someone threw an egg at poor old Billy as he stood there on the back end of the train. The manic little digger began to scream and yell, I am the leader of the land, I want him in a cell. Sergeant Kenny said in Warwick, only Queensland law is true, and while you are PM, you cannot tell me what to do. Poor old Billy, as he stood there on the back end of the train. Who threw the egg at poor old Billy? Oh, what a scandal, what a shame. He sends the young men off to war to face the death and gore. But such a horror as this day you never saw before, the day that someone threw an egg at poor old Billy as he stood there on the back end of the train. So remember Warwick Station, remember Billy Hughes, the tiniest little digger with an even shorter fuse. And remember Paddy Brosnan, the one who threw the eggs and sent Hughes back to Sydney with his tail between his legs. Oh, who threw the egg at poor old Billy as he stood there on the back end of the train? Who threw the egg at poor old Billy? Oh, what a scandal, what a shame. He sends the young men off to war to face the death and gore. But such a horror as this day you never saw before, the day that someone threw an egg at poor old Billy as he stood there on the back end of the train. Last chance! Oh, who threw the egg at poor old Billy as he stood there on the back end of the train? Who threw the egg at poor old Billy? Oh, what a scandal, what a shame. He sends the young men off to war to face the death and gore. But such a horror as this day you never saw before, the day that someone threw an egg in poor old Billy, as he stood there on the back end of the train. Paddy Brosnan threw the eggs at poor old Billy, as he stood there on the back end of the train.
Lovely singing, thank you. It was just fantastic. You hopped in there as though you knew it. When I first met John, it was 1994.
It was a school outing.
Primary school out.
In which case I was made listed.
And he was singing this song at the Townsville Folk Club. It's a song that I thought was very beautiful. And the Townsville Folk Club at the time was the kind of place where there were 3 rows of people sitting at the front listening to every word, and 17 rows of people piled at the bar yelling at each other. And so if you could sing over that, you could just go anywhere and do anything, I found. It was a great baptism by fire. Would you like to tune? Should shut up, thank you.
No, that's all right.
It will be more effective if we take turns.
How many times have I heard those words?
Yeah, it's just such a...
Where's your phone, Emma?
There.
Oh, you click on there, yeah, no problem.
So on it.
I did it by myself while I was waiting. Carry on the theme.
This is a song called The Butcher.
In Belfast town, where I did dwell, a butcher boy I knew right well. He courted me, my life away, and now with me he will not stay. I wish my baby that he was born and sitting on his daddy's knee, and my poor body to be dead and gone, with the long green grasses growing over me. There is a tavern in a rubber town, and there my lord, he sits him down. He takes an woman upon his knee and says to her what he won't tell me. I wish in vain. I wish I was a maid again, a maid again. I never will be till cherries grow on a ivy tree. He went upstairs, the door he broke. He found her hanging upon a rope. He took his knife, he cut her down, and on her breast this note he found. Oh, dig my grave, oh, wide and deep, put a marble stone at me head and feet, and in the middle put a turtle down to show the world that I died for love. In Belfast town where I did dwell, a butcher boy I knew right well. He courted me, my life away, and now with me he will not stay. That's a killer song, right? It wasn't a pun.
But it could have been.
It's not a strong mind, it's okay.
I'm going to sing a song about trade unionism. Do we still have it?
I think some places we do. We were driving through Dorset this year. We didn't realise how wide Dorset was.
Speak in A.
We were driving through Dorset.
I didn't know dialects were an A.
Dialects are in A.
Oh, sorry, the Frankie Boyle joke, the Dalek poetry reading. My poem is called Daffodils. Exterminate daffodils. Which leads beautifully into this song.
There was a little bit of people trying to exterminate people in this song.
Oh, well done.
The song is The Tolpuddle Man. And in the village of Tolpuddle, there were some men who decided to swear an oath. And the oath was not to the king. The oath was to their families. They swore that they would take some of every year's crop to feed their families because they were unable to do so. And because of that oath, they were transported to Australia. And it was an early way of getting a ticket to Australia, and at the time, not a popular one. Things have changed a little bit. They were political prisoners, I guess. And they were eventually, one by one, freed. And largely, they were freed because the king swore an oath that was not to the king. And at that point, because he became a Freemason, didn't he?
Yes.
Yes, the king became a
Sworn oath to
Freemason. And
Masonry.
once he'd sworn an oath that was not to the king, it seemed a bit of a moot point that they had.
Oh, I think it was more than a moot point.
Well,
There were some legal people in Britain that were going to bring the whole thing to a head in Parliament.
oh, yes,
And it was
that
getting
sounds-
very politically nasty.
Let's-
And they went, let's free them all.
Yeah.
Let's not go muddying the water with facts.
I very rarely let a good fact disturb any of my introductions, and some of them are interchangeable.
Having worked with Martin Pearson for many years, it's an easy thing to accept.
So this one, of course, has a chorus, and if you know it or pick up on it, please sing along.
Or sing something you like. When we're singing the chorus. memories. It's now I must leave you, that far fatal shore. In chains we shall see, although we are taken. Do not be mistaken, as brothers in union, we shall be free. They can bring down our wages, starve all our children in chains. They can bind us and steal all our land. They can mock our religion, from our families divide us, but they can't break the oath of the toll of the land. To those who would rule us, we are the dissenters. To your duty be grateful, don't complain, we are taught. For God in His wisdom has divided the kingdom, for few to have much, while so many have naught. They can bring down our wages, starve all our children in chains. They can bind us and steal all our land. They can mock our religion, from our families divide us, but they can't break the oath of the toll of the So, brothers and sisters, with an oath we will bind us, the labor and poor. In all England shall rise, for Frampton has framed us, he never will tame us. Arise, men and women, will yet win the prize. They can bring down our wages, starve all our children in chains. They can bind us and steal all our land. They can mock our religion, from our families divide us, but they can't break the oath of the toll of the land. They can bring down our wages, starve all our children in chains. They can bind us and steal all our land. They can mock our religion, from our families divide us, but they can't break the oath of the toll of the land. No, they can't break the oath of the toll of the land.
Thank you. That was a fabulous sound that you just made.
Who are you talking to?
The audience, not
All right. Well done, sir. I've never heard a human being make that noise. So we're going to sing you a song about a man called Bill and a bear called Samson.
Oh,
A song I wrote after someone in Mullaney came up to me and told me the true story of Bill Sinclair, an immigrant to Australia from Glasgow in the late 19th century, who, with his wife Thomasina, raised 11 children up in Mullaney, or just outside Mullaney. And one day, when the circus came to town, Bill, who had a reputation as the strongest man on the Blackall Range, went down to the circus with his family, and one of the acts offered £10 in cash to anyone who could defeat their bear in a wrestling match. And I wrote this song about the true story of Bill and his family going to the circus. We'll leave you with this one. As the law requires, we have CDs for sale. And if you already have them, a set of 6 make lovely coasters.
Christmas presents.
Well, Christmas is, in fact, just around the corner.
At last, we can use that line as well. Thanks for coming out, everyone. It's lovely to see you. We will be in there just having a chat as well and a bit of supper, so do come and chat.
And I promise to come to this club more often in the future and to remember doing so. Come listen now, good people, here to a story of renown of the day 100 years ago, when the circus came to town. Mr. Worth and all his gallant crew, they raised the big top high, and all the folk for miles around gathered under a canvas sky. And were you there in the clear night air when William Sinclair he fought the bear? Were you there to see William Sinclair when he wrestled the bear to the ground? There were dancing ponies and tumbling clowns, the best you ever did see. A lion tamer and a high wire act, a girl on a flying trapeze. There was a fat ringmaster in a big top hat. He slashed his whip through the air. With a roar and a growl, a cage went bang. Danced the mighty bear. And were you there in the clear night air when William Sinclair he fought the bear? Were you there to see William Sinclair when he wrestled the bear to the ground? He was 10 feet high, he was 9 feet wide, a mountain of muscle and fur, a giant beast as black as the coal, the ground shook with his roar. Then the man with the whip, he called for quiet, not a sound from those who were there. I've a crisp £10 for any man here, brave enough to wrestle our bear. And were you there in the clear night air when William Sinclair he fought the bear? Were you there to see William Sinclair when he wrestled the bear to the ground? Bill and his family had come to see the show, his youngest newly born, the strongest man who ever walked the range. He carried his weight in corn. He sized up the beast with a glance at his wife. He slowly raised his hand. I'll go, he heard himself say, then up struck the band. Stripped to the waist, Bill entered the ring, circling and bouncing around. First left and right till he jumped right in. The crowd didn't make a sound. They twisted and they turned as they wrestled and they grappled at the skin and the muscle and the hair. With a mighty roar, Bill threw Thompson down. He raised his fist in the air. And were you there in the clear night air when William Sinclair he beat the bear? Were you there to see William Sinclair when he wrestled the bear to the ground? You've never heard a roar quite like it, the shouts at the midnight air. Bill was raised above all the heads of the crowd to the cheers of everyone there. And to this day when you see the name of the famous Bill Sinclair,
Yeah.
Okay, come on.
Thank you.
Means we have to pay them more, that's the trouble.
They're worth it.
Double this time. Triple.
I'm going to sing you a song with the first line that seems particularly apt, given that on Friday I stopped for the second time, being a lawyer. Although you never really stop, it's like being a Catholic. The guilt lasts forever. This is an old English song which became an old Australian song, which eventually became Bound for Botany Bay, True Love, a slightly different treatment. This is, as usual, judges and juries. It's a fairly modern piece. There's your problem.
And there.
So I'm saving up for a little band who tunes them for me. But surely if one's flat and the other's sharp, it doesn't matter.
Cancel each other out, they're good.
It makes it sound like there were more guitarists. Here's a due to all judges and juries. Here's a due to you bailiffs also. 7 years you parted me from my true love. 7 years I'm transported, you know. Oh, Polly, I'm going for to leave you. The 7 long years, love or more. Though the time it won't seem but one more. When I think I'm a girl I adore. Oh, my darling, she cries every morning. Oh, my darling, she cries every day. Oh, my darling, she cries every morning. Oh, my darling, she cries every day. How hard is my place of confinement, which keeps me from my heart's delight. All chains and all irons all around me, a plank for my pillow at night. Oh, my darling, she cries every morning. Oh, my darling, she cries every day. Oh, my darling, she cries every
So someone put $2 in the tin, and if you're talking to Cloudstreet and buying their CDs, can you please make sure they get some supper? Okay, and I will let you know when you come back. And please, enjoy.
I'm standing in front of